In today's show, coffee can fuel your health. We will find out about the wellness-enhancing benefits of coffee. Do you love drinking coffee? A large cup of warm coffee is a morning ritual for millions of people to begin a day. But for those who count sheep to fall asleep, coffee probably isn't an option. Even a small amount of caffeine may make them jittery and awake all night. Why does caffeine affect people's preference for coffee so dramatically? A substantial factor is our genes. Dr. Marilyn Cornelis, a caffeine researcher at Northwestern University in Chicago, Illinois, USA, says that it's interesting how strong of an impact our genetics have on that. She added, "What we are finding is that we have built-in genetic factors that help us with self-regulating our caffeine intake. It all starts with the two genes that mostly control how our body manages the caffeine circulating in our system. CYP1A2 is a gene that's responsible for producing a liver enzyme that metabolizes about 95% of all ingested caffeine, while the aryl hydrocarbon receptor, or AHR gene, controls the number of liver enzymes produced in the body. When working together, these genes determine how much caffeine is to be in our bloodstream and for how long. Regarding the amount of caffeine intake one can tolerate, Dr. Cornelis says, for someone who has a genetic variant that leads to decreased caffeine metabolism, they are more likely to consume less coffee compared to someone who has a genetic variant that leads to increased caffeine metabolism. If you metabolize caffeine quickly, it won't stay in your body long enough to produce a noticeable effect on your brain's stimulus centers. But if you are a slower caffeine metabolizer, a greater amount of caffeine will linger in your body for a longer time to keep you energized. Let's look at some of the scientific evidence on why drinking coffee is good for you. Coffee is known for its ability to improve attention, raise alertness, and increase energy due to its high caffeine content. It also contains several beneficial nutrients, including vitamins B2, B3, B5, manganese, potassium, magnesium, and various phenolic compounds or antioxidants. Caffeine is a natural stimulant that affects the central nervous system. After a few sips of coffee, the substance is quickly absorbed and starts to work its way to counteract the effect of adenosine in the brain. Adenosine is a neurotransmitter that calms nerve activity and blocks the release of many feel-good substances in the brain, including dopamine. The result is the feeling of drowsiness. When caffeine circulates inside the body, it occupies the place of adenosine in cell receptors throughout our system. Because adenosine no longer acts on the receptors, drowsiness is reduced. However, when the caffeine level wears off, adenosine will bind with the receptors again, followed by the feeling of lethargy. Many studies show that caffeine can improve brain functions, including memory, vigilance, reaction time, and mental performance. It is possibly protective against the development of cognitive decline that may be caused by such conditions as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. Previous research has uncovered the association between coffee and the lessening of the incidence of cognitive disorders. Recently, a new study from Australia, further exploring this subject, appeared in the journal Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience. Dr. Samantha Gardner of Edith Cowan University, the lead author of the paper, said that Coffee intake could one day be recommended as a lifestyle factor aimed at delaying the onset of Alzheimer's disease if emerging evidence continues to support this finding. Dr. Gardner added, "It's a simple thing that people can change. It could be particularly useful for people who are at risk of cognitive decline but haven't developed any symptoms." Coffee's high antioxidant content helps to protect the body from free radicals, which can damage important molecules, including proteins and DNA. Several powerful antioxidants, including those from the hydrocinamic acids family and polyphenols, are found in coffee. Because antioxidants can effectively neutralize free radicals, coffee can potentially offer protection against many diseases that are partly caused by oxidative stress, including cancer. According to a new study led by researchers from the US-based Harvard School of Public Health, people who increased daily coffee intake by more than 1 cup over a 4-year period had an 11% lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes than those who did not increase their coffee intake. Conversely, the study found that participants whose coffee consumption decreased by more than a cup per day had an increased risk for type 2 diabetes by 17%. Drinking coffee may also be good for the liver. The study that included more than 490,000 people tracked for an average of 10.7 years showed that drinking coffee significantly lowers the risk of chronic liver disease and death from it, fatty liver disease, and liver cancer. For people who already have liver problems, coffee appears to protect them from the condition worsening. The benefits of coffee have always been controversial. The World Health Organization, which has classified coffee as possibly carcinogenic for several years, recently changed its claim, indicating that the evidence for a coffee cancer link is inadequate. United States National Dietary Guidelines suggest that moderate coffee consumption may actually be beneficial and lower the risk of certain chronic diseases. Why does the evidence on the health benefits of coffee seem so conflicting? Again, the answer may lie in our genes. Dr. Ahmed El-Soukhemi, a professor in the Department of Nutritional Sciences at the University of Toronto, Canada, and his colleagues conducted a study with 4,000 adults, including about 2,000 who had suffered a heart attack. When they looked at the genes and coffee consumption of all the participants, they found that those who drank 4 or more cups of coffee per day had a 36% increased risk of a heart attack. However, when the research team categorized the data into fast and slow caffeine metabolizing groups, the result surprised them. The chance of a heart attack appear to be higher in heavy coffee drinkers who are slow metabolizers. Dr. El-Soukhemi said that when you look at the fast metabolizers, there was absolutely no increased risk. Fast caffeine metabolizing participants who drank 1 to 3 cups of coffee per day had a marked reduction in heart attacks, suggesting that for this group, coffee had beneficial effects. Dr. El-Soukhemi speculates that because caffeine remains longer in a slow metabolizer, the chance of it triggering a heart attack is higher. By contrast, because fast metabolizers are able to get rid of caffeine from their systems faster, it allows the antioxidants, polyphenols, and coffee's other healthful nutrients to benefit them without the side effects of caffeine. Although caffeine may boost your mood, metabolism, and mental and physical performance, overconsumption of it may lead to unpleasant consequences such as insomnia, nervousness, restlessness, nausea, and increased heart rate. Some people can tolerate much more caffeine than others without experiencing discomfort, while others are more sensitive to it. Usually, moderate drinking of coffee won't cause a health problem. The bottom line is to be mindful of caffeine's possible side effects and be ready to cut back if required. Using medications or supplements. Certain medications and herbal supplements can possibly interact with caffeine. Some examples include ephedrine and theophylline. The former may increase the risk of high blood pressure, stroke, or seizure, and the latter may magnify caffeine side effects like nausea and heart palpitations. Not getting enough sleep. Coffee helps people stay awake during the day, but it may also affect the quality of sleep if consumed too much or before sleep. The effect of caffeine starts in around 15 minutes and remains in the body for several hours. Doctors recommend curbing coffee consumption after 2 p.m. to ensure that most caffeine can be metabolized before bedtime and allow adenosine to kick back in for a good night's sleep. We wish that freshly brewed coffee brightens your morning and keeps you energized throughout the day.
Vegan for the whole world medicine.
Delighted viewers, thank you for your company today on our program.